Hello and welcome to Cavs Daily, your one-stop shop for everything Cavs related. I'm your host, Paul Williams. Appreciate you guys coming along for another banger as we're now well into November basketball and the Cavs had another game tonight as they hosted the Memphis Grizzlies. We're going to talk all about that. Before we do, if you could, like, subscribe, comment, share your opinions on this game or on anything that I say. Good or bad, it's appreciated. With that out the way, let's talk about this Cavs dub. First of all, it wasn't the prettiest dub, but it's not always going to be that, especially during a long regular season. And, the Cavs do still have some guys out due to injury, as Garland, Tyson, Strus all were on the sideline for tonight's game. The Cavs came out very, very sluggish in this one, and after leading 4-3, like less than a minute into the game, the Memphis Grizzlies took the lead and held on to that lead until, I won't say well into the fourth quarter, but till about the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter. The Cavs just, they were sleepwalking through a lot of the game. Their offense was clunky. Their defense was not there. Memphis was kind of scoring at will for a lot of the game, and they lost Ja Morant to a groin injury, groin tightness, or some fugazi injury that, it's clear Ja Morant has quit on his team. He left last game for a right ankle soreness injury, and he's definitely trying to get out of Memphis, but that's another story. He left after the first quarter, and the Grizzlies honestly didn't really miss a beat without him offensively. I don't know if that was more due to them playing well or the Cavs defense just not being there, but the Cavs seemed to trail between 7 and 11 points pretty much the entire game until midway through the fourth quarter. They once again went into another halftime with a deficit, which, is nothing new to the Cavs if you've been paying attention. They seem to do that every game. It's usually a double-digit deficit. The deficit tonight was 61-54, so not as bad, but still not what you want and not a trend you want to see from your team. The Cavs fell behind by double digits in the third quarter, and in the fourth quarter, the Grizzlies once again built up a 9-point lead, and that's when, first of all, Evan Mobley set the tone offensively early in the fourth quarter, kept the Cavs afloat, cut into the Grizzlies' lead, got it to 85-83. And then from there, Donovan just became Donovan. And we're going to talk about it a little more in our final thoughts, but he's a bad, bad man, and he can finish games like very few players in the NBA, and he did just that tonight, hitting 3 straight threes at one point, diming out DeAndre Hunter for a big basket to give the Cavs the lead. And, he just took it home for the Cavs tonight. Pretty much period, point blank. There were some defensive plays as well that were game-changing plays. Evan Mobley had a defensive game tonight where you can literally see why he's Defensive Player of the Year, and you can also literally see how defensive plays can truly be game-changing and be one of the biggest factors in deciding a win and a loss. It's the type of situations that I will break down to my son and show how important, one or two single defensive plays can be in the big scheme of the game. And Mobley had a few of those. His block with a minute left on Jaren Jackson was just truly, Defensive Player of the Year caliber. It's the best you're going to see in moments like that in the clutch. He also had one just a few minutes earlier that was just as big as the Cavs were still in a very tight game with the Grizzlies at the time, and every possession mattered. Once the Cavs did get the lead, they pretty much were in control. I mean, I don't know why I just squeaked like that, but the Grizzlies did get it within 6, 106 to 100, but both teams kind of didn't score for about a minute and a half, and the Cavs were able to put it away with a putback from Sam Merrill with 40 seconds left to give them the 108 to 100 victory. Donovan also had a really nice defensive play in the fourth quarter, getting a steal on a bit of a lazy pass from Memphis, and something you love to see, and another thing that I will break down and show my son is the leadership qualities and the unselfishness Donovan showed after getting the steal in the fourth quarter. He could have easily taken the dunk or the layup for himself and got 2 more points, and a ton of NBA players would have definitely done that. But Donovan saw Jared Allen also leaking out and decided to push it up ahead, just a little bit ahead, unnecessarily really, but push it up ahead to Jared Allen. Jared Allen finished the play with a dunk, and it was just a key moment that just showed not just Donovan, but he's the leader, and the guys go as he goes, and it shows the unselfishness of this team, and that's going to be needed if they're going to go the places that they really want to go and have the ability to go. So, yeah, you love to see it from your leader. Kudos to Donovan for all of that tonight. The Cavs did a good job defensively, mostly on Jaren Jackson from the Grizzlies, who became their go-to scorer once Ja Morant went out. He did finish with 26 points, but it was on 6 of 23 shooting. DeAndre Hunter for the Cavs had probably his worst game of the season, was pretty quiet, got into foul trouble, which pretty much every freaking Cav was in foul trouble tonight. It was ridiculous. Yet another game where the Cavs just can't get away from fouling, and the rest were also fugazi as well, I can't lie. They had a lot of questionable calls and just wouldn't let the game get any flow, as there seemed to be a foul called every 30 seconds. The Grizzlies were in the penalty for half of the quarter, nearly every quarter of the game, and that's something you don't want to see. The free throw shooting was, again, tilted heavily in the other team's favor, as the Grizzlies shot 40 free throws to just 29 for the Cavs. And it's just another thing where we still have to change at some point. Donovan led the way with 30, 5 and 5. Jared Allen had 16 points for the Cavs. Evan Mobley had 22 points. Not super efficient, 7 of 16, but had his points when it mattered most. And since we're talking about Evan Mobley, we might as well go to the next topic, as it does involve Evan Mobley. He had a matchup tonight against Jaren Jackson, 2 defensive player of the year type guys that are still young, coming into their own. I do think Mobley's a much better defender than Jackson, but he is a good defender as well. They were both very aggressive offensively tonight as well. Jackson taking 23 shots, including 8 3-point attempts. He, again, only made 6 of 23 and 2 for 8 from the 3-point land. Also only had 5 points to go along with 2 points and 5 fouls in 33 minutes. I thought Evan Mobley and the Cavs overall did a very good job on Jackson. Mobley took it upon himself a lot of the time, especially in big moments, to guard Jackson, and I think he was clearly winning the matchup when that was the case. On the offensive end, Mobley did shoot 3 for 6 from 3, knocking down a few big 3-pointers that kept the Cavs in the game. Mobley seemed to be very aggressive early on, and then that first 5-6 minutes of the fourth quarter was just something that if Mobley can become that and do that more often and be that guy that can take a load off Donovan Mitchell, pause before Donovan does take over and bring the game home. That's huge, and that would elevate Mobley to that next tier of NBA greatness. So it was really good to see the way he came out in that fourth quarter, and then to also do it with some of those defensive plays. Huge night from him, and I mean, game ball to him for his defensive plays alone. Coach Atkinson talked about him showing the team right after the game his block and talking about how important that was. So I think Evan Mobley definitely won this matchup between two young, kind of similar guys. I do think Mobley's the overall better player as well, but it was good to see him come up big when the Cavs needed him most tonight. And yeah, I think he got the dub for sure in the one-on-one matchup between him and Jaren Jackson. Now, speaking of Kenny Atkinson and some of his comments, he said a few interesting things I thought that really caught my ear in his post-game presser tonight. And I'm just going to get to the biggest thing that, I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it too much, but to me it just validates what I've been feeling and what I've been saying. Like, he's not a huge Jared Allen fan for whatever reason. And I know he was with Allen in Brooklyn years and years ago, so you would think that would not be the case. And he speaks highly of Allen a lot, especially preseason he did. But he said he was talking about Lonzo Ball and how important he's been for Jared Allen. And he said, and I want to make sure I quote this right, he said, J.A., you got to give him handoffs to keep him super engaged and keep him playing to the level we need him at. He basically said that you have to make sure. He said Jared Allen is going to be giving us his best and really fully engaged and playing up to his capabilities when he is getting fed and getting his share of the pie on the offensive end. That's what he was saying, and that's a problem for me when it comes to Jared Allen, because he's always worked so perfect with these other guys because he's not that guy, and he's willing to like sacrifice for the team and make impacts in other ways, whether he's getting the ball or not. And I think it's been an obvious correlation. His down games come on both sides of the ball, it feels like. Whenever he's not getting his touches, getting his shots up, getting his time to maybe not be featured in the offense, but to make sure he's at least getting a couple looks at the rim, getting an alley-oop here and there. And I know that's a lot of big guys are like that, of course, but Jared Allen was like, I think a lot of his value came from not having to be that guy and being a different mindset and a different type of approach when it came to his role on a team. So I thought Kenny's comments there was very important. He also just talked about how the Cavs were stuck in the mud for most of the game and couldn't really get things going, played sloppy basketball with 21 turnovers. He said Grizzlies having Zach Edey back was big, as Edey was playing his first game of the season. They used a lot of drop coverage, and his size really affected the Cavs. And Coach Atkinson talked about that a bit. And he also talked about the Cavs now for the fourth game in the row. Their offense just hasn't really been clicking. It hasn't been smooth. Guys aren't really getting the looks that he feels they can be getting with the talent and the personnel that we do have to put out there. And he didn't seem panicked or anything like that, but he talked a lot about how the Cavs just haven't really had it lately on offense. But turnovers was not a problem previously for the most part. Tonight it was, obviously, with 21. He also talked about Naquan Tomlin, who once again did get some playing time, and he is taking that Larry Nance Jr. role. I love Larry Nance, and I didn't want this to happen, but Naquan Tomlin is deservingly so going to be taking those minutes, I think, going forward. And Atkinson talked about how he just brings an energy that the Cavs really need, especially this year. It seems at times they're not playing with the energy they did last year, and a guy like Tomlin, you can see it. It's tangible when he's out there. He changes the game with his energy, and Kenny Atkinson definitely acknowledged that in his press game post-conference. Or post-game press conference, whatever you want to call it, all right? And to wrap things up tonight, I just want to give a few final thoughts on tonight's game and just kind of where things stand, I think, with the Cavs right now. One of those thoughts is about Tomlin. I do think he's now more than earned the shot at that, like, first big off the bench, really. I think he has shown enough that it's not going to hurt to give him some of those minutes, see if he can continue to provide this energy. He seems to always be getting his hands on loose balls and coming up with 50-50 balls. He hustles his butt off, evident by all the fouls he picks up. But, yeah, I think he can be an important piece off the bench for the Cavs. Not anyone we have to rely on for big minutes or big production, but just a guy that is very good to have when you need him in games like tonight, and someone that when he comes in, he's going to, at the very least, bring you a spark and bring something that the team doesn't have and doesn't get from any of their other big men. Also, it seemed like Darius Garland, from everything Coach Atkinson was saying, and just from seeing Garland interacting on the bench and through timeouts, doesn't seem like it's going to be a long-term thing with this toe re-aggravation. Just the fact that he isn't ruled out for even the next game yet. They've listed him as questionable and then ruled him out more than 24 hours beforehand, but I don't think he'll be out more than maybe a week or two at most. I mean, that is obviously not confirmed or anything, but I would be surprised if we don't see him back in a week or two. So I think that's good news as well. But the Cavs are, at times, at least defensively, looking like they're figuring some things out. But I think having Garland back, obviously, on the offensive end, is that final piece to this puzzle of what this team could be and really unleashing these teams or this team. And the last thing I want to talk about or touch on in our final thoughts is the refereeing really is like a travesty and a joke right now. These teams can't even play any fluid basketball because there's a foul called and a stoppage for everything. And I know it's part of the game and it's going to happen, but at these rates, it's just insane. I mean, Cavs opponents are consistently shooting upper 30s or 40s free throw attempts a game, which is just insane. These teams are getting into the penalty with 7-8 minutes left in each quarter. And, I mean, I don't think anyone, even the players, the fans, anyone want to just see a free throw shooting contest. Like, when fouls need to be called, yes, call them. But let these guys play at least a little bit. And when it comes to the Cavs foul situation, like, are we just that undisciplined defensively? Or, I don't know, why would the refs hate us? But it really seems like every ticky-tack foul or phantom foul that happens in our games, it goes against us. And maybe I'm a paranoid fan, but that should be having me mad. And it was no different tonight, even though the Cavs were able to pull through to improve to 9-5 on the season. They'll have an off day on Sunday, be back against the Bucks on Monday. We won't have an off day on Sunday, though, because we're coming at you with videos pretty much every day. And we will definitely have one for you tomorrow, and then be talking about the Bucks game the next day. Until then, we're gone for now. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day.